Welcome back to ESL One Hamburg 2019. We have had not so much a skirmish in game one, as so much as a war between these two teams. It is Wind and Rain versus BeastCoast. Our second game draft is underway. We're going to drop you right in there alongside me. Of course, Blitz and Capital is back to talk you through draft number two. Gents, I don't know how we top that. To start the day, what a great start.
It was a really good game. Well, we can top that by Wind and Rain, the presumed underdogs, actually being able to win and then make this go to game three.
I like it.
Top it that way.
I like it. We're going to get into draft momentarily. Blitz.
I will 100% take 3 games.
3 games of this.
Well, my concern is, how do you recover from a game like that?
Yeah.
You feel like you should have won. All the tools were there. You were absolutely crushing them in the early game. You were taking advantage of the fact that Hector comes online a little bit later, and they just couldn't get it done.
There was like so many little things that happened, like the one time they were assaulting that bottom lane and almost killed the Lifestealer. I think Purge has a great clip of it on his Twitter. It's like the save from Chris Luck. It's just so superb, being able to toss the Lifestealer back. Save him, draws the game out. I did like the fact that Wind and Rain took a very aggressive approach to like just kind of assaulting BeastCoast in lanes. I actually really like the Axe Skywrath Mage opening. Here, they're doing Winter Wyvern instead, which is a better hero against Lifestealer, no doubt, but it doesn't have the same kind of laning phase pressure, because I'm assuming Skywrath is going to get banned out the second phase.
It also just doesn't really have that like burst utility that you saw that was pressuring Hector so much in the early game.
Yeah.
Like Axe call into Skywrath ulti was a kill every single time, guaranteed.
Maybe there's another forward position that they have in mind that can replace the Skywrath Mage, but I don't think there's too many 4s that really do what Skywrath does.
That 1 and 21 Tusk has been banned.
Yeah.
I thought,
you know what?
Doesn't matter about numbers.
No, it doesn't.
Stats don't matter, Nahaz.
Agreed.
He's somewhere back in the arena cursing both of us right now.
He's doing the Nahaz. All right.
He'll be with us, of course, this afternoon for the other...
He'll be on next series, right?
Series, yes. For the next series, where you two are going off to the tribute.
Yeah. Skywrath Mage is indeed banned.
As you predicted, it is banned, yeah. Razor banned earlier this time as well.
Was Winter Wyvern banned?
No, it was played, wasn't it?
Oh, no, BeastCoast did ban Winter Wyvern in the second phase.
They did,
so,
yeah, but it was BeastCoast that banned it, yeah.
So Wind and Rain just thought about it and had a higher priority in having this 5 position that is a very good counter to Lifestealer, no doubt.
BKB Piercer too.
Yep.
So yeah, we mentioned the fact that the Legion Commander was the most played here for Wind and Rain, alongside the Ogre and the Winter Wyvern.
Most Wyverns have been traditionally 5 for a really long time. This is looking like it could be a 4-position Wyvern, which is interesting.
Well, Wind and Rain have played it like that. They've played both these, the Ogre and the Wyvern like that. So.
And the cool part about it is like what everyone's doing right now is spamming Splinter Blast level 1 and kind of similar.
I think it's just good against the laning phase. You want to try to slow down Hector as much as you possibly can. Like, try to ruin his laning phase, get these 4 heroes that just like these range harass base heroes.
Yeah.
Is this the time, Will? Do BeastCoast need to be careful of the slightly cheesier route that Wind and Rain might adopt here?
I think by going for the AA though, you're insulating yourself from like the Huskar.
Yep.
You're probably, by picking the Lifestealer as well, you're picking like a really stable core that's just pretty solid in lane. You know it matches up pretty decently against the Axe at some point.
No Drow ban this time.
Yeah, they could go back to the Drow Ranger strategy. They could also go for Void, because that is, I think, still a good counter to Lifestealer. And one of the go-to cores that has not been banned.
And likewise, they could also go back for the Conqueror again if they wanted to.
Yeah, both these supports are pretty susceptible to the Kunkka burst. I wouldn't mind it. I always like the Coco's run against, like Lifestealer. If you think about what he wants to do in a fight, he wants to be able to rage, open win somebody, and just hit on them. But
it is back for the Drow, which we saw in the group stage from Wind and Rain. It won both the games.
What are your big carries that you could do for Wind and Rain? You could do OD with Drow Ranger.
It's not bad at TA here.
Yeah.
I think it's actually quite nice right now. You don't have like any hard lockdown. You're a BKB core that just rips through. You can Rosh very quickly as well. You want something that really takes advantage of that attack speed. We saw previously, like, was it Sumail run the Lesh and it wasn't as good?
Yes. We talk about that just because that is probably an important point for BeastCoast to be thinking about right now while they decide on their 4th pick.
Okay, so they take Omni, something that can run in, you dispel. You don't actually lane that bad against the Dro just because you're so tanky.
Yep. You lane very well against Ogre because you can like Heavenly Grace yourself and just like hit the Ogre. You're actually one of the heroes that can fight him back. You have this great physical damage immunity with your ultimate against Dro and Axe. So Wind and Rain do need a core that either does, I think, is TA out because of Omni Knight? Like then you're just all physical damage cores.
Let's see.
I like OD more just because you'll have damage. You'll have pure damage in the mix and magic.
I like OD as well. I think it's a good save for this game. Again, the lack of stuns, like those kinds of heroes that rely on their mobility mid, feels really nice to play against. And eventually you will get a BKB. And the question is, like, what do those BKB fights look like for you?
What other range mids are there?
Oh, they actually banned the OD themselves.
Really?
Hmm.
What? Maybe they just have a very different idea of what we're thinking about with Dro Ranger strats. I mean, you and I talked a lot about Dro Ranger, and one of the things that you said to me that I really liked was that like Dro Ranger just doesn't feel good right now as the primary damage dealer.
Yeah. I would like her to be like the side hero that enables you to Roche. She's kind of been the same hero in that regard. The upside is like she does neutral a lot faster and she pushes out lanes a lot quicker because of her aura. But
it's not that she does scale well into the late game. You know, her Aghanim Scepter is pretty insane. It's just that there's a certain amount of you can't really rely on her so much to do out that damage a lot of times because it's so easy to get on top of her, to get anywhere close within that, like I think it's 400 range to be able to break her aura.
yeah.
And then a lot of her damage just goes out the window as a result.
Right now, Wind and Rain, like their only catch right now is this Axe. I feel like you could do some sort of mobility mid, like you could pick some Zeus or something. It makes it really hard for you to abuse these heroes, plus you have so much frontline for yourself. You don't have a vehicle for the lifestealer, but it's not like BeastCoast play on that very much anyways. So I could see something like Zeus being okay, or something that just plays from distance, like Zeus Sniper, one of those types of heroes.
Okay.
That just gets to like peck away at you. Plus it extends the game for Hector, which I think is a really big thing.
What about Invoker?
I think Invoker's okay too. Maybe it's a little bit greedy.
Yeah. Can you go faster? Can you go any like tempo mids like Lina or Quap or any like the Puck?
Oh, okay, so they take TA.
TA, which we talked about earlier on, and the OD was banned. So Wind and Rain, what are they left with here?
No, most of the mid heroes are panned out.
They could go DK.
It could, but the only downside of that is you don't feel like you abuse your aura.
It's very tanky to all this physical damage that BeastCoast is running, but there's AA to stop your regen, and there's, I think, a general lack of damage. I want more control and more damage out of Wind and Rain.
SF? Does he SF?
It's okay. You could do something like Viper too.
Oh yeah, Viper versus EA. There's a couple of okay break mechanics in here. Disabling Feast,
there's nothing. We're not missing something that's like 10th pick win game scenario here, are we? I mean, obviously the Huskar we talked about, but there is the AA on the other side, so
yeah,
probably not this game. Or do they risk it, Will?
I don't know. I feel like BeastCoast, they don't really have like a ton of catch themselves. So they take Wind Ranger.
Do you know I was going to mention the fact that you pair it, because it's such a classic combo, isn't it, with the Drown?
It's a good combination for sure,
back in the
especially
day.
since she naturally goes for items that proc, so you, because of focus fire, so you will take advantage of that attack speed aura. It's a hero that can deal with the refraction later on to the game pretty well. It's a hero that stays ahead of the lifestealer, and like another one of these heroes you could just kite around, focus fire.
It's very CIS as well, isn't it? These two paired together in the same lineup.
Yeah,
Has it convinced you though? That's the key here. Is it enough?
I don't know. I felt like the reason I think both of us were a little bit stumped about what the 5th pick was going to be is I think BeastCoast constructed themselves a really good lineup.
Yeah.
So
difficult to break it
didn't feel
down.
like there was a ton of weaknesses to it.
Right.
But Wind Ranger probably is it's the best pick you could get.
Yeah, I think that I needed something mobility-wise. Like, I actually thought they were going to take Storm themselves before it got banned.
Yeah.
Which kind of lends credence to the OD thing. And then I think the Wind Ranger was probably not their like favorite first option or anything like that.
Just managed to fit it in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gents. Time then, ladies and gentlemen, to get into game number 2. Can BeastCoast sweep it up and move on? Or have Wind and Rain got a bit more fight in them? Let's find out.
It is great to see Wind and Rain fight really strong, but man, I also like seeing BeastCoast where they have these fast tempo heroes that snowball well, that get them to push aggressively, and Templar Assassin feels very much like that for them.
Oh yeah, this is their bread and butter, right? And when you're playing against the Drow lineup, it's about getting aggressive early, denying those triple camps around the shrines. It's a really well-crafted lineup. I'm so surprised, though. I think Will was right. Maybe they're thinking Storm. But a Deuce, last pick with the Ogre seemed real nice. Wind Ranger does not benefit from the increased attack speed at all. So that power spike later on doesn't really seem to be there for the lineup.
Yeah, it's where you just try and understand like what was the goal. Like you're getting the Drow lined up. Like maybe you don't have to build everything around it, but then does Drow have a specific purpose for Wind and Rain inside this game? A Drow lineup normally likes to push aggressively. But you don't get the damage, you get the speed instead.
Yep. K1 once again on his signature lifestealer. It's a really well-crafted lineup. I love AA as a hero concept simply because it effectively forces BKB, right? But now you combine that, you've got a TA and a lifestealer, so armor becomes incredibly important. But if you don't get any spell immunity, these supports are just going to rip you apart.
You're not going anywhere.
Really nice mix of damage here.
And this Ogre, stand on top of the rune, it's impossible to click around the body. Skullfield, unable to claim that one, but the Drow range is copying a lot of damage from Whisper. Very much in the face of Drow. A lot of that harassment damage to the Drow Ranger does get negated heavily by the Purification.
This top lane, once again, we're going to have Boogie on the aggressive axe against the lifestealer. Was relatively trade happy in the previous game. Should probably be about the same this one. Mid TA Wind Ranger. Of course, Wind Ranger will have that Drow aura, but it's not nearly as beneficial as it used to be now that it just gives the attack speed edge instead of all the damage. And Drow bottom thankfully has a very strong support in that Ogre, who also went for that shield oove early on, so he's very formidable. Drow, of course, not offering much in the early laning phase.
Yeah, so Ogre needs to lift up and do more. K1 and Stinger getting quite heavily harassed. The battle hunger difficult for Stinger to get rid of. But they'll start the pulls, they'll change the equilibrium of the top lane. While the mid lane will always remain interesting, where you keep those eyes on the side blades. Yol, not one life, but just moves around the tree line. Kind of really interesting to also watch a Wind Ranger who's just got the Salve backpacked. Like two free slots. I may need this at a critical moment, but it's fine. Let's get hit by multiple side blades.
And so far, so good for Chris Luck. He is crushing this lane. Not only out harassing, but out CSing. In the top lane, you're going to just continue to see these lane shenanigans. Not much you can do to zone off a lifestealer, but you can attempt to mess with his CS, as they're doing now. As we saw last game, AA, not exactly the greatest support. Every 15 seconds throwing out a chilling touch. It's cute, but don't really offer much else.
Yeah, you don't achieve a lot. Schofield TP's all the way back to base as he was zoned out by Yol. And even getting the damage in for which is going to be so difficult. getting through refraction charges. Obviously, like, if you had the attack speed, it'll be fantastic. It's only just been really leveled up for the Dro. And it's just a level 1, too. But the Temper Assassin just sees so telegraphed with a power shot.
Oh my god, his side blading mid has been absolutely on point. He's already forced that salve. Wish has had to buy another one, and he's already half HP.
It's 14-5 CS to the 6-1 of Wish. And then Chris then takes the high ground to the Radiant side. Refraction is up, Windrun's gonna wear off, and that's still a hell of a lot of damage. I like how he's even taunting on the way through as Refraction soaks up his power shot.
He is just crushing this lane. It does not get any easier for Wind Ranger either. If TA hits 6 first and starts placing traps, you don't have a sentry. You are food.
That's a little deep Whisper. There with Yol, the slowdown's gonna be more than enough with the Orb of Venom. Whisper tries to make a break for the trees, gets the salve off. No one's nearby. He'll juke around the side and then cut back up through the trees. Dro wondering where he went. Whisper, the fancy footwork, but the slows. It's a level 2 Frost Arrow. So again, he tries to make a break for the trees. Play in the Fog of War, loses the aggro of the creep wave, and gets back into the lane.
Meanwhile, Rubik denies 2 creeps, then he walks over, steals the last hit on the Centaur. Surprised to Whisper, he hasn't skilled his 3rd point yet. Aura or Heavenly Grace, both would be effective here.
Wonder what he's waiting for.
Yeah, he's gonna hit 4 soon. Might as well just make up your mind. I think D-Gen's quite nice against the Ogre, but you can play it either way. Oh, now he's in trouble.
But stuns, pick up and throw back. Schofield creates a little bit more space. This top lane's going pretty well for Boogie, at least as far as CS goes. 24 for 5. Some of these did come in from the side camp, but either way, he's the first player to hit 2K net worth.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Stinger, right? He is not even playing this top lane, as we said. AA just really isn't a hero. He's waiting for that level 10 tome, or sorry, minute 10 tome, before he becomes a real participant in the game. And you're cool with this. K1 loves having the extra levels too.
It feels a little too long. Is it? Oh boy, Wish. He got 3 Sideblade hits in a row. And he's got 2 tangos. That's not a fast enough regeneration to be closer to the front lines to get this CS.
TA is one of those heroes where I feel like you can actually see like the raw skill difference between the pros we watch on camera versus ourselves when we play the game. Because it's way more difficult than it looks to hit side blades that effectively. And I think he's hitting more than he's missing.
Bottom lane, there's DJ Nora going to work while Cole features all the battle for the 5-minute room, but Dro Ranger is in a lot of trouble and they just keep body blocking her up. Can't walk away from this. And it all started with Schofield. Telekinesis dragging him back. You'll lose the bounty runes on bottom, but Dro's out and the first blood goes the way of Whisper.
And it's the 2 points in the DJ Nora. You cannot escape it as a Drow, especially when you don't even have boots picked up. His Ogre was off to the side looking to shrine and stack. And another just great, but Chris Luck, man, he is dominating, not just crushing this lane now with traps up, but he got a double stack off in his own jungle while he had a break. He had forced Wind Ranger out of lane, and he's dominating. TA Omni can just single-handedly take over the mid game, buying time for K1 if they continue to keep up this pace. And it just doesn't feel like Wind and Rain. They don't have those tools to make plays in this game. It's really just the Wind Ranger, but he's suffering so much. I'm not sure how effectively he'll be able to rotate around the map.
Oh, this is some good contesting from War. No way to really stack for a Templar Assassin. Bottom lane, they just keep going again. With extra support arriving, Dro Ranger cold feet up, can't walk away. And Whisper stays on top of the Dro. They have no gust, there's no pushback. Schofield copped all the attention of Yol, who just hits in with Nikwa. That Splinter Blast of level 2 really causing problems. And Schofield can't finish the job on Ogre Magi. Nikwa was there for the Cold Embrace, cancelling all that physical damage and getting the supports a double kill on bot lane.
Really nice rotate. They needed those kills. Whisper, unfortunately, was unable to drop tower aggro. Only reason he really goes down there is because he copped 7 or 8 hits. Top side, just Axe versus Lifestealer. Both sides going to trade farm as both team supports look to get active around the map, but the big disparity, of course, is that mid lane. A lot of Wind Ranger's CS is jungle, so even though he's in spitting distance, actually not doing as bad as I thought, only 200 behind, now 3.
Yeah, play the catch-up.
Until he pops the salve and loses his Observer Ward, unfortunately.
Nefred is about to start all over again. Cold Feet with the telekinesis and the chilling touch slow. Nikwa does actually have enough mana if he uses it, actually not anymore, to put the stick charges. Yes, has to cold embrace the Draw Ranger, slow this up. Never's already gone down. Now Wish will rotate in. It's a good power shot, clipping too. Cold Feet will not manage to trigger over on Nikwa, but Yol, under the cover of Invis, will be here to land an extra stun, and that'll let them focus. Now over towards Whisper. After Stinger falls down, the focus fire of Wish, the damage output is enough to get through Whisper, actually holding the 9 stick charges.
Really nice rotation. Somebody has to do it. It can't be Axe. He has to stay top. Only the Wind Ranger really able to get involved. Really nice movement there. Rubik AA, of course, one of the iconic support roaming duos. A lift into a Cold Feet's almost going to be a kill any time. You can see him finish it off, but Wish hits the power shot. Schofield, he escapes, but they do lose 2. Invis Rune, a little bit of assistance there. Whisper not really expecting an Ogre to pop out of nowhere, but he's dead the moment that Wind Ranger is in range with the ultimate active. Mid, they go onto the TA. Axe is here.
Able to get the call. Wish also coming in. 4 heroes to kill off Chris Luck. And Boogie will get the Culling Blade off.
Nice. That's the big benefit of Axe, is that when you're able to play so aggressively in the lane, because you're cutting creeps constantly, you have way less travel time towards that mid lane. It's not a rotation you would expect if you're this TA. And now they place a ward. I'm surprised he didn't have a trap on that high ground. Would have prevented that movement, but now with the ward, he should be fine. However, mid tower already dead.
Yep.
Wow.
9 minutes in, they commit heavily. Kind of actually felt like BeastCoast were trying to do the same thing on bottom lane, like add pressure to that tier 1 tower, remove Draw Ranger's farm area. But it's War who claimed the first tier 1 tower of the game.
I will say this game is a bit different for Wind and Rain. They have the tools to deal with Lifestealer later on. Wyvern, arguably the best 5 position against the hero. In addition, Wind Ranger at any point later on in the game, you finish a Maelstrom, you just ult him. And Lifestealer all of a sudden can never really go toe-to-toe. He's going to be going for that Midas Radiance build once again, so the MKB is going to take a while to come online, which means at any moment, if Wish pops that win run, you're invulnerable. And in reality, BeastCoast don't have any raw magic damage. You've got Lockdown. The Rubik A will provide a lot of DPS, but you only have the GA as a tool defensively.
And that's why we're taking things like the Deuce, right? Like at least you get like that mix up. The OD, which they banned themselves. That would have been a nice choice. Either way, they're going to work with what they have. And there's your focus fire, Schofield. Schofield can't get away. We'll give him the eye.
Nice.
That's all for the 10-minute bounty runes. And War, they're really trying to force for both. Got Stinger actually dragging the Ancients down. Could have created some problems for Winter Wyvern, who actually cold embraced himself. Whisper can't do anything with it though. Like it's not this stun controller who can be repositioning like his puck from before.
But he's still. All right. Arctic Burn, not bad.
Just a level 1.
Yeah, pretty nice lead though so far for Wind and Rain. Midas up for K1, but Boogie's about to finish the blink. In fact, he just did. Might even be trying to make a play here. There's that Wind Ranger we spoke about.
Yeah, with the creep wave, can they actually lock him in?
5.
Oh, there's no shackles, so K1 will just rage and try and get back to the tower. Infestation.
Oh, no!
Fall down!
He tried to get the infest off, but Boogie was ready. Hits him right in the mouth. That's a huge kill. His Midas was on Courier too, so he's losing a lot of efficiency.
Oh, I'd like to have Suicide for 200. That is problematic, at least with the timing not being right. Rubik, he's going to go for a little bit of a fly, chasing after the Winter Wyvern with the Arctic Burn. Picks him up, throws him back down again, able to help land that stun, but Boogie will still get the call off. Whisper trying to protect the Rubik as long as he possibly can. He ends up stealing nothing because he can't use anything. There's no mana and there's no life. And Schofield.
Might be able to, he's going to catch. He's got a 4-level advantage on the enemy offlaner.
Oh boy. There's another son available. Yeah, Whisper knows like if I run north, I'm dead. So I'll try running south instead. The call's out once more. And Whisper will fall to Boogie, giving him now his 3rd kill of the game. 112 CS in 11.5 minutes.
That's the 2nd game in a row. Wind and Rain have this big advantage after the laning phase, playing very well around the map. They're finding kills, they're getting objectives, and this time they should have the tools to be able to fight later on against BeastCoast, who also don't have the annoying lane shove ability. There's no puck to worry about any longer.
This is smart from Ogre. Needed to scout out the Ancients because they're about to be farmed. Axe has done a very good job of contesting a lot of these, but he just TP'd up towards the top lane, looking for their own fight onto K1. The pickup, Ogre, he's going to have to run through the gauntlet to get out of that one. 4 heroes and 4 stack Ancient.
That'll be a deso for our TA. Good to be complete. 12 minutes in, not a bad timing.
With these stacks as well, like he was trying to do it with his northern jungle, and Axe was able to contest it. This one, a lot harder for War to get up high ground and really stop him.
Maelstrom on the Wind Ranger. What's Nefert going for? Just the Wraith Bands. Looks like a Dragon Lance will be his item of choice. You do want a Hurricane Pike stat in a game like this. You're playing up against a Lifestealer. Any sort of forcing in a direction is nice to kite. You're against 3 melee cores, not counting the TA, I suppose, but you know, low range.
They're here to finish the job on bottom lane. You got a fresh Desolator. Time to rip through the tier 1 tower. You get rid of the TA traps to see you then. It's up to War if they want to try and defend this. You could have TP'd out a long time ago and said it's going to be Curse, and then begin the TP. No other stuns available. Rubik was the only one with telekinesis.
Exactly. Would have almost certainly died there otherwise. It's a nice move, but it does give BeastCoast an opportunity to perhaps push for a tier 2, knowing they don't have that.
I'll just find it down. Ogre gets the initial stun over on the Ancient Apparition. He's got level 6 available. Good Fey boss up in the action, being able to blink himself forward, but the shackle latches onto Rubik and Whisper, both being caught out. Boogie's still looking for this great call, and he's got one to hold the Rubik in position while AA dies along with him. The Templar Assassin thought there was a fight, but he thought wrong. Turns for a couple of attacks. Buyback comes in for the Rubik. GA from Whisper guides him a little bit of time, and the axe actually ends up going down. Chris has the damage output. There's more support available through the power of Wish. They may go underneath the tower with it, with the power shot connecting Rubik. He's a little bit more control, but it won't happen. A triple kill for Wish.
Dude, they don't even have a Drow in this fight. They killed all 4. In fact, Stinger died back there. Or Schofield, rather. What a fight. You get to, even through the GA, they got so many Maelstrom procs because of the Wind Ranger's ulti that he just dies from magic DPS.
Actually, watch where it started. That shackle when it connected. So many problems for both the supports to really be involved. No teamfight control, no positional control.
And Boogie Axe is just king in this phase of the game. The GA comes on, as you can see, look how many procs you're gonna get. 1, power shot, 2, a multicast as well. Man, that's what finishes off the Omni Knight as well. Whisper was trying to get a heal off on Schofield, but as you're about to see, not very effective.
It's like you've got stuns for days coming out of War, and they're all low cooldown times, easy to expend.
Yeah, baby. You're still farmed, though. TA, 164 CS in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and they're coming for her. They understand where she's farming, so War and Wish and Yol enter up towards the shrine. They have their own observe ward already planted. That's why they see what's going on. And there's a sentry ward on Stinger, and you know what he wants to do. He needs to clear this up.
And this time as well, you've got this different strat from Wind and Rain, whereas previous game, they're running around as 5. This time, Drow's not getting involved, neither is the Lifestealer, but you're still having that advantage around the map, and I like this decision. That was one of the issues with the Weaver's game, and the previous was you just fell off. Although here,
Over on the TA, jumping on the mid lane, but Dro gets to the tree line with the Gust. Rubik can't grab with the telekinesis.
Really nice sounds. Already an Aether Lens up on Nikwa, by the way, 15 minutes in. And again, we brought this up, but Wyvern's just so good here. These cores from BeastCoast are all physical damage. You not just have that defensive put down to the Cold Embrace, but at any point, even through a Rage or a TA BKB, you've got the aggressive Winner's Curse that then allows you to reinitiate with an Axe who's got that BKB piercing call. They have the tools this time to deal with what BeastCoast is trying to do the entire game.
Spells more interesting, Dota. Once War's ready to get aggressive, and it looks like with the group up, Smoke. Axe has Blink Blade Mel to go to work. With the Demon Edge. Already on the Wind Ranger, the damage output's high. Templar Assassins on the other side of the river. Farming the Radiant side, understanding probably the War is ready to hunt.
And he's got traps set up all around him. It's a very fortified position. It's a very smart decision, because if he's on his own shrine, right, he's about to die because Axe just blink calls.
Ogre is bait, but he can't push the wave because level 4 Splinter Blast was stolen. Schofield can just clean everything out, and then Blink, Shackle, the stolen ability is now gone.
Feels a little like deja vu. 15-5, Wind and Rain crushing in kills, dominating the map. But can you keep this lead going? Oh, Drow in some trouble. Nice silence again.
Yeah. Push the TA away. The Ice Blast was coming into TA. There's TP's out, she'll be fine. And instantly over to farming underneath the Radiant Obs.
And this is even further dangerous. Hey, look who's bottom. It's Whisper. Pushing out the lane. Big creep wave coming in.
He's less versatile in this game, though.
Definitely.
Like, he's maybe harder to kill, having the mech, being an Omni Knight in general. But it's not the puck. It's not someone who can hide inside the tree lines and always have that threat of pushing up bottom. If the threat's there, you'll see him.
This did... Oh my god, the Wind Ranger just finished an MKB.
Yep.
It is 18 minutes into the game. Effectively, anybody that he chooses the ultimate is dead. And unless you're G8 immediately, there really isn't much you can do about it. Lifestealer looking to close in on the Radiance, just the recipe away. But still, they're going to need more time to truly come online. Chris Luck, top of the net worth charts, sure, but as TA, there's just not much you can do in this kind of game. You don't have that assassin potential when you're playing against two heroes that can deal with that raw physical damage output. And anytime you catch a blink blade mail from Boogie, you are in deep trouble.
And he's willing to go for those blind kind of jumps. They're actually pinging over towards Roshan. For the MKB, maybe they feel they have enough damage. There's a Hurricane Pike on Dro. Yep, they're going to go in. How fast can Roshan die? Oh, okay, well, very fast. BeastCoast, again, not ready. Stinger, Ancient Apparition.
I don't think you can't possibly be ready for Roche that fast.
Here comes the blast, but it's already too late. Aegis them all in the hands of Wish.
Going for the Aghanims next. I actually love that item. It's not the same as it used to be where you'd have a much lower cooldown on the ultimate for the Wind Ranger, but it gives you 2 charges on Wind Run. You're playing against TA Lifestealer. They are so far away from MKBs. If you have double evasion ability activate, like what are you supposed to do? How do you catch this guy that can then also solo kill anybody he wants by popping his R button on him?
I do love this how Rubik now has the passive of Precision Aura level 4.
They know he's there. They know he's there.
It's like, well, TA can benefit from this.
That was so cool. So Boogie, he didn't show, and now they still know TA is in the vicinity. They scanned him out, and Boogie's gonna try and make that play one more time with the Blink Taunt.
There'll need to be an Ice Blast or something to help him. Like, blink into the trees and TP away won't work if Winter Wyvern's still there, and there it is. Wow! Instant gets the kill, jumps away to safety. A full surgical attack. But, evacuation plan also works.
What a beast. That is not supposed to work. That is the definition of a low percentage play, high risk, very low reward, but hey, when it works, like, it's the right play, right? 4 bounties going the way of war, unfortunately, for this BeastCoast side.
Oh, there's your blink call. Axe will get some kind of rebuttal. Omni arrives. Lifesteal takes too long to finish his TP. There's no control once again. Man, TA is just loving this aura. She's farming so fast as well.
And the big disparity is in the offlaners. Whisper not having nearly the same kind of performance. Does have the Greaves up, but it was a rougher laning phase for sure. And you don't have that benefit. To your point, Puck has a very easy time just clearing waves, staying on map, constantly accelerating in net worth, whereas Omni, much more of a +1 to one of his other cores, really just holding hands now with his Lifestealer, trying to make sure he can farm safely in this bottom side of the map. Invis rune popped along with the Aegis on Wish. They saw him though, there was a sentry on top of that TA trap. Really cool placement there, so they know that he's in the vicinity. And the Dire team, they might try and set a trap or perhaps just play conservatively.
Looks like they're trying to get close to that tier 2 tower on the top lane, but Rubik keeps holding the back.
Look at that, MKB finished on TA.
And now done. She is #1 in the net worth and is a full, like, almost 2,000 gold ahead of that Wind Ranger.
I like it because, as we said, what does BKB do when you're playing against Wyvern Axe? Just get the damage. All of a sudden, that Axe on Wish, doesn't matter when he picks it up. It's gonna be useless if TA blinks on top of him. It's a very squishy hero. Only 7 armor on this Wind Ranger. He relies upon that 100% evasion to survive, but you take that away from him. Some deep trouble.
The Ice Blast is chilling up. It's TA. It's harass. Y'all in the back line.
And Drow's going for a butterfly. He's gonna have to switch that up if he sees this item picked up.
They need a creep wave. Wind Ranger's just chipping at the tower. Is healing as much as she's damaging. Now the creep wave will arrive.
Still have not seen the TA yet.
Don't even see the lifestealer until Halbert's done.
Yeah. And Halbert, it's not as effective as it was in the previous.
Oh, hold up. Cole found one. Axe picked up. Gonna instantly thrown away. Stunning up the Wind Ranger in the process. Ice Blast gonna go into the tree line too. But is it really a jump? There is from the TA into Ogre, protected by the cold embrace of Peekbot. He gets the ulti off, but no one from BeastCoast is there. Remember, they've still got the GA ready to fight. It's gonna pop off. All the damage from the Drow Ranger now doesn't exist. But the Wind Ranger, where's your Wind Run? Can't escape K1. The call is there, and that's why you have Aegis the Immortal. Lifestealer will die, but Wind Ranger back to the fighting front lines. Searching for a target, able to find one. Rubik flying up the hill, up and over the cliffside and over to the tier 2 tower. Thought he got caught in the hillside with Boogie's call, but not the case.
This is a totally different type of draft for Wind and Rain. They've got a Wind Ranger with ult up in 10 seconds and a Drow. They're gonna go straight high ground.
TA needs to come back. She's on bottom lane. The buyback comes in from the Lifestealer. Rubik again. Maybe just with that buyback is enough to make Wind and Rain not go high ground. They're scared off.
I like this, though. They're playing with a lot more tempo, specifically that gem pickup. Wind Ranger's had that now for 3 or 4 minutes. It really helps to maintain map control against the TA traps. You can see the little missed initiation here, the AA blast falling off in the middle of nowhere. An immediate cold embrace into ultimate onto the TA. You've now taken the strongest hero for BeastCoast completely out of the fight. They've got to play purely defensively now. All of a sudden, the fight is about survival, not aggression. K1, as you can see, gets a little aggressive, catches the taunt to the mouth, dead. Only trading for the Aegis, which would have despawned it right about now anyway. Forced to buy back as well. And business as usual.
Back to the farm, back to the push. So Drow Ranger can work her way towards the butterfly, just increasing her power. The Wind Ranger, Aghanim Scepter, Maelstrom, MKB. Also completed, and a double damage rune. Yeah, you smoke, you want to fight here. But TA's adding a lot of pressure on bottom lane. Chris Luck, he's very fast at forcing out this lane. Even when that fight was potentially going to start in the mid lane, he was still down, pressuring the tier 2. Courier's doing its own shopping.
I gotta say, I do... this might be a fight.
They're wrapping around. There's your blink call.
Oh my God.
K1 gets control. He has no buyback available because he bought the Talisman of Evasion before that happened, so Chris Luck's got no choice. He has to pressure the tier 3 tower.
He had no buyback in the first place, Toby. That's a dieback.
True.
And now there's a DD fading on the Wind Ranger, sure, but you've got 80 seconds to just shove middle.
Axe is TPing back. Boogie, there's your blink call. Stinger has the Ice Blast available. Go and throw it out in the Axe. We'll see just how much damage the Templar Assassin can do. You've only got the chill effect over on Boogie. In fact, TA can just die. An Ancient Apparition will probably die with him. Up into the trees, and they'll find him. You can call just to hold him in. While Drow Ranger and Winter Wyvern reach the tier 3 tower in the top lane. 3 heroes dead for BeastCoast, and the cannons just hitting from range. The shackle won't last, but it won't matter. Whisper's down without buyback as well. War, they are gonna crack this base open right here, right now.
I think we might be going to a third, Toby. There's just nothing you can do at this point. Wind and Rain, they've got all the answers. They get the tier 3 13K gold lead. And I love the adjustment, you know, recognizing, hey, we were playing better than BeastCoast. We were controlling the map. We got more towers, more kills. Can we just, you know, do more? The gem earlier, a lot more emphasis on killing objectives, but it's really starting with the draft, right? The Drow lineup, paying dividends here. They're all online.
It really is the War comfort zone too, just to be able to have this. And it was in the later phases of the draft. So BeastCoast were willing to play against this. They played a similar draft with the AA and the Lifestealer once again.
And another sick performance from Boogie. 10, 1, and 5 on the Axe. He's been dominant the series thus far.
It's when you have that the trade-off for farm, right? You were mentioning it like in the very early phase, Lifestealer versus Axe, but Axe can always pull to the side. He can always get so much more out of this game. And with the blink initiations, the calls, the controls, they're able to get this kill over on Rubik. And it's not like BeastCoast aren't there. BeastCoast are definitely there. And they want to fight. The Ice Blast flies forward, only chills over on 2 with Rubik buying back. Yol will go down, but he'll buy back too. The double gust, problematic for the Omni Knight. Now he'll get the GA off. The Shackle's unable to latch over on the Lifestealer, but Wind Ranger ready to fight. The GA wears off now, and up the hill they'll go. War They have the advantage, but they don't have a lockdown control. Maybe they can catch Rubik. The power shot and the call will work. So Rubik dead. It's a dieback for him.
You can't fight if you're BeastCoast. There is no team fight. There is no AoE control. They're dependent on this TA lifestealer being ahead, and they're just not. And now K1's gonna die again.
Yeah, he's down too far. Has the halberd, the curse, holding him there, so Axe can then come in, ensure the call. Omni wants to help out, but the shackle already keeps K1 down. He's down for a long time. 70 seconds. Templar Assassin desperately trying to add some pressure to the bottom lane.
You know this is 2 heroes dead. I wouldn't just go for throne with it, right? Who cares about the Rax trade?
Oh, Wyvern's TPing back. He's there to defend against Chris Luck. But they have the numbers anyway. As long as Dro and Wind Ranger are there, they'll take Rax. As long as Axe is there, you'll have the initiation, control, or kill. But they're not going for the tier 4s. They're going to go for 2 lanes of Rax.
Hey, take that. And as you said, Chris Luck, he's still bottom. There's nothing he can do. You have got a chance. You could play your assassin role, find 1 kill perhaps, but against this lineup of Wind and Rain, so long as Boogie is standing behind his cores, there's absolutely no reason they should be threatened. Vlad's picked up on the Ogre along with that casual buckler, just doing his part to ensure his team stays as formidable as possible. Love the support items picked up. Only one they're missing right now is a medallion or solar crest.
Now, this should really be... You just know where it's going to go. Like, there's not a lot the BeastCoast can do when it comes to the team fight. There's going to be less they can do with an Aegis as well as cheese in the hands of War. They'll give Wind Ranger the cheese. Dro has the secondary life. It's a very angry Roshan after death.
Oh yeah, and with 2 Rax slain, all you've got to do now is regroup, do that long march. Yep, draw the line for me, thank you very much. That's exactly what you need to do.
I think I understand the win condition. We walk. We walk bottom lane. There'll be one last good fight the BeastCoast can look for. See if they can force some kind of mistake out of War.
Well, there's an invis.
You can see Boogie, like, he's got his BKB, he's ready to jump. And there's no telekinesis that will save then. There's no stuns, there's no control. Wind Ranger.
Well, I know something's up.
Yep, looking for a target. K1, Boogie doesn't want him, wants a different target. Templar Assassin's down in the lane. The Ice Blaster flying in, but K1, there's your call. Isolated out. Templar Assassin's not even there. She's over with everybody else. Wyvern's being picked off as Omni Knight. Well, there's the controller kill.
It's just too much damage, Toby.
Yeah, it really is. Like, this game is 2 characters away from just being done.
There's nothing, you don't even have time to commentate. They're just dead.
Yeah.
This is a Drow with a Butterfly and a Crystallis, soon to be a full Daedalus. The Wind Ranger having an unbelievable performance thus far. 8-0 and 12. Really, just stellar from Wind and Rain. They effectively played the same game as our first, yet this time they have that ability to be just a little more aggressive. The damage output is there, but more importantly, they identified that, you know, this BeastCoast lineup, they're all about the physical damage, right? From both mid and carrying.
Wish, I'm watching you dropping your MKB in front of the Templar Assassin. Trying to bait her to jump forward and go for it.
Yep. This one's, it's Mega's in 30 minutes, Tokes. This is...
Yeah.
That's pretty done for.
It's pretty much over. But BeastCoast, they're enjoying the moment until they call the GG. And that's exactly what happens. Game is done. And we will see ourselves go to a third. The first one cracked well over the hour mark. This one done in half that time. And a very dominant performance. Not even just on the back. Like, it's not even like your standard Dro strat. It was just a well-executed draft. The Axe seemed to be a big player as well, which there was never really an answer to. Like, where was BeastCoast save? Where was BeastCoast control factor?
And this is one of those downsides, right? There's something to be said with playing in your comfort zone. But if you're going to open up with effectively the same strategy, you want to run this AA lifestealer again, now you even double down with even further physical damage in the TA. You've got to be careful because these heroes like Wyvern, like Wind Ranger, if you remove the ability for you can't play aggressive. You can't actually find kills. It's a near impossible ask. Like, you're just kind of screwed if you're BeastCoast.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna find some kind of way to turn this around, like change up your draft. Obviously, like maybe they're like, well, if it worked in game 1, let's just have the confidence in ourselves to do it in game 2. And it was starting to work. Like the Templar Assassin had good momentum. There was just
Yeah.
It just felt like there was no one she could sync with, and there was never an infest combination, there was never a stunner beforehand, and maybe that's a look at the Chris luck.
It's a product of the draft, though, because BeastCoast, like, this is their style, right? Play around these two cores, everybody else kind of running around making space. The supports can feed, but who cares? We've got Chris Luck, we've got K1, but their items don't matter. TA has a BKB queued up, realizes this actually won't accomplish anything for me. I'm playing against an Axe, I'm playing against a Wyvern.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, you're confused. You don't have that timing where all of a sudden you can turn things around and try and gain advantage, and you're lost. And all of a sudden, you've lost a game 29-8.
Yep, and they're going to find a way, recoup and come back for game 3.